Hey everybody, Tyler Cruz here, also known as Always Dizzy. I, I thought I would start a new series on my YouTube channel for book reviews. And please let me know in the comments what you think of this series. I thought it would be useful for the majority of viewers. I was thinking about doing this earlier, but I haven't read that many chess books. And so I wanted to maybe read another one or two before I kind of started the series, so I would have a bit of a backlog. I'm nearing the completion of reading another chess book right now, so yeah, I thought it would be time to start with my first video of book reviews, and we're going to start with Zurich 1953. So this is one of the most famous chess books. At least for more experienced players. I mean, it's not the first book that most chess players will think of. In fact, most chess players will not have even heard of this book. But for anybody that has read more than a few chess books, this is definitely one of the most famous chess books and one of the most highly respected chess books out there. So this is written by David Bronstein. So the Zurich International Chess Tournament, this was a candidates tournament in 1953. So the candidates tournament is the big tournament that players play, and the winner of that tournament plays the world champion. And they're still holding these candidates tournaments today. And so there were 15 players in this tournament. I'll name them here. So we have Smyslov, Bronstein, Keres, Reshevsky, Petrosian, Geller, Najdorf, Kotov, Taimanov, Averbach, Boleslavsky, Sabo, Gligorich, Irva, and Stahlberg. It's kind of funny. Stahlberg kind of shoehorned in there. I've never heard of him before, but he's a Swedish player. And so as I do with every single chess book I have, and I'm probably the outlier in how I read the chess books, but I read word for word, and I basically go every single move, and I read all of my books, at least my physical ones. I read it at an actual over a chessboard, no distractions, full with all of my attention. And so I actually went through every game in the book, and I usually go through most of the variations. So I'm pretty crazy in that regard. So this book it's a games collection book, okay? And it has every single game from this tournament. And I forget, it's maybe like 210 games or so. Actually, I can tell you, I think. Yeah, I can tell you because every single game is numbered. I think it's 210. Yeah, 210 games. I went through every single game physically over the board. Now, this tournament, one of the reasons this book is highly regarded is because this tournament has a lot of famous games in it and some really good games. For me, going through all the games myself, I wasn't like flabbergasted by the games, but there were some good ones in there though, and that's saying a lot coming from me because I actually hate looking through Grandmaster games. I do it because I'll do anything to try to improve, so I do it for that reason, but I hate doing it. But despite that, there were some really nice games in there. So, I would probably say at least 10 really nice games. But of course, it's subjective. A lot of people will say like half the games were beautiful. What else did I want? I mean, there's a lot to say. So there's two versions of this book. This is the one by Bronstein is the most famous, and this is the one that's highly regarded. But there is another book that a lot of people don't know about, and it was by another player in the tournament, Najdorf. So he wrote one as well, and there's a few differences between the books. In this book, there's basically no discussion at all about the tournament itself. So there's nothing like, okay, this was round 3, blah 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 was in the lead, and blah 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 blah. There's none of that. There's no talk about the political issues, and there was a lot about that at this time with the Russians. But the other book has some actual content about that. So the one by Najdorf, and that's probably because Najdorf was a defector of the Soviet Union, and he fled to Argentina, and so he was more able to. He wasn't constrained to the oversight of the Soviet Union to write to not talk about all the political stuff. So there's more of that in the other book, but another difference is in the other book. I think there's less discussion when analyzing the games about like psychological things that happened during the actual games, and it's a bit less artistic. So Bronstein writes really well. Like when he annotates the games, it's pretty interesting. It's not your usual annotations. He'll talk more about the beauty of certain moves and, so again, some of the psychological ideas behind them. Another thing to mention is that the notation, I don't know how to describe. Sorry. At the time of recording this video, I'm still recovering from COVID, so please excuse the coughing. But it might be like descriptive algebraic, but it's kind of like, hopefully you can, this shows up pretty well on the webcam, but you can kind of see here, like, let me adjust my microphone. So if you just follow my finger, so you have like rook f5. I know it's a little blurry. Please bear with me. There we go. Rook, come on, focus. You can see. So rook f5 takes d5. They use like a semicolon for captures, and then every move has like if you look over here, like bishop f2 to g3. But you can follow it. I mean, it's not hard to adapt to. It'll take you a couple minutes to get used to it. But every single game has commentary. Like usually maybe, whenever something interesting happens, so it could be like every 5 moves or every 2 moves, every 10 moves. It really depends on the game itself. But the whole book is like, let me actually flip through it. So you just have every single game like that. Okay, so going through all the games, it's kind of interesting because there wasn't a huge spectrum of openings. And so there were a crap load of King's Indian defense games, a crap load of Nimzo Indian. I think there were more Nimzos than King Indians. There's some Queen Indians, Queen Gambit Declined, and then a few others. Actually, there were some Sicilians as well. The Sicilians were kind of boring. They weren't very. The lines were kind of like old lines, and not super aggressive. But there were if you play the Nimzo Indian or you play against the Nimzo Indian, there were a lot of very famous and like principled games, and a lot of King's Indian as well. Just a ton. I like the King's Indian and Nimzo games together. Probably. Let me take a sip. If I keep coughing, I'll have to grab a cough drop, and I'm not gonna edit this video. I'm too lazy. Sorry. But yeah, like the Nimzo Indian and King's Indian games alone probably account for like 75% of the games in the book. So if you like those openings or you play against them, this could be a good book to go through. Um, yeah, so Bronstein writes really well. There's some controversy of if he actually wrote this, I believe. I've heard some rumors that somebody else wrote it and he just gave his name to it. Yeah, I'm not sure what else to say. No, so what did I think of it? Well, again, I personally hate going over famous games. Maybe that'll change one day. I'm hoping it will, but I still do it to try to improve, as I said before. So it's really, I mean, it's up to you. I can't tell you. I can't really. This book is kind of hard to because it's so subjective. Again, because since I don't like going over games, I didn't. I'm obviously going to be honest. I didn't enjoy it myself, but that's me. If you like going over games, this is a good book because there were some really great gems in here, and a lot of thematic ideas. Because since there were so many games of the same opening, you can really see a lot of those ideas throughout the tournament. And it's kind of interesting too because some players might play that opening in the early rounds, and then in the late rounds they kind of adapt how they play it. Yeah, so I think I've gave a good summary of the book. If you enjoy going over game collections, this is one of the most, well, it is, yeah, it's one of the most famous books, but also one of the most highly regarded. There's only like a couple others that I can think of. I think 1916 was Alakine. I think that's one. Yeah, okay, I will leave it there. So that's Zurich 1953, a games collection, every single game from the 1953 candidates tournament. Okay, hopefully you enjoyed that. And if this video is popular, I will continue the series and give more book reviews. Okay, thank you.